I tell you what, folks, there is just an absolute ton of great content that is taking place right here at the Inbound Marketing Summit in New York City. Welcome back. I'm Tyler Pybron of the Pulse Network. Now, we welcome in Sonja Fridell of BrainSell Technologies. Sonja, how are you doing today?
Great, Tyler. Thank you for having me.
And so without a question, so let's talk about IMS first. Let's start with this. Talk about the conference. What's it been like for you?
Well, this is our second one. We did Boston in the fall, and this has been fantastic. It's a different crew of people. But we love it, and we love to be surrounded by people who are on the same marketing motto as us, which is inbound.
Excellent. Cool. Okay, so let's talk about that, because there's such an influx of inbound. Obviously, this is the perfect place to be discussing that, but we're talking about inbound in particular. So one thing I want to ask you about, at this point in time, do we need an inbound marketing person? I mean, in our staff, in our repertoire of people that we're go-to. Do we actually need one right now, do you think, or what?
Absolutely.
Why is that?
Inbound marketing, blogging, sometimes moves down the food chain to a most junior staff member.
Okay.
It's not always really valued, and that person can be horribly overworked and not concentrated on the task at hand. So if you're taking inbound marketing seriously, highly advised to bring on someone that just does that.
No, I find it interesting right now because so many people are trying to do inbound, but they're trying to do inbound because inbound encompasses an awful lot. And we're talking about engagement, whether it happens to be on Twitter, whether it happens to be on Facebook, the different social channels, could be creating video. What type of person are you actually looking for, do you think? Are you looking for someone that writes well? Are you looking for someone, I would say in your mind, what is it?
Absolutely. So I came into BrainSell because Jim Ward, the co-founder, the founder, had read Dharmesh Shah and Brian Halligan's book, Inbound Marketing.
Absolutely.
We're big fans of HubSpot, and the first thing he read in the book about hiring your employee is find an ex-journalist, which I actually happen to be. You can find lots of journalists that are out of work and need to be repurposed. So looking for an ex-journalist is a great idea. It's someone who's passionate, who can write fast content that's valuable, and they're not afraid to get their hands dirty. Okay,
you said something that I think is really interesting right now, and that's fast content.
Yes.
Talk about the importance of velocity right now, because I think that's an interesting thing, because some people can create a bunch of content,
Yeah.
but they don't put it out the right speed, or the right rate, or the right time frame. Talk about the importance of that.
Yeah, well, blogging, absolutely every week. We try to get out, 2-3 times a week sometimes.
Okay.
But the speed in which you do it, you need to be conscious of how valuable your content is. Always making something valuable and worthy of reading, and even filling out a form to get a white paper is really important. So, if you're just putting up an update or something, that can be fast and brief and to the point. But when you're putting out really valuable content that you need people's names for, putting a form behind something, it needs to be very good.
Talk about this from the ex-journalist's point of view. How are the roles similar right now between being a marketing professional and being a journalist? How are they similar?
It's very similar in that you're creating content and it is fast. It's less of a deadline. But
it's not 4 o'clock, you need to have it in or else your story doesn't run the next day, right?
Which is great, because then you have the pleasure of making it really great.
Absolutely.
So when I had a week to do something, it was unbelievable. I mean, what I could do in a week versus 4 hours. So they're similar in that you're gathering really important information, talking to lots of people, but you have the time to make it great, and also you're adding to your company's overall bottom line, which is a huge pleasure for me. Working at a newspaper, you might sell a couple copies, get some more hits on the site, but I'm converting leads now and making the business more valuable, and that's very important.
No, talk about how it differs, really. I mean, obviously those are definitely differences, without a question. I think everybody's aware of that. But from your point of view, what's really different? I mean, your writing style, is it, well, I'm writing, 400 words as opposed to 1,000? Is it that, or, I'm living more on Twitter, I'm living more on these social channels. So what's really different right now?
It's not as reporting centered. So let's say, we want to get on page 1 for this search term. Let's find the savviest way to get there and figure out what makes people tick and what they're wanting, and let's write it for them, not let's report the most current news. So it's a little sneaky and sales-oriented, but it's valuable nonetheless.
It's not necessarily it bleeds, it leads anymore, right?
Right.
Excellent stuff. Great stuff, Sonja. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tyler.
Without a question, that right there is Sonja Fridell of BrainSell Technologies. I'm Tyler Pybron of the Pulse Network here at the Inbound Marketing Summit, New York City.